Welcome back to another weekly GMBN Tech Show. Coming up on the show this week,
a further development on Shimano's Gearbox.
Oh yeah, a new bike from NS Bikes, the Define.
Some kind of XC orientated flat pedal shoes which look pretty cool.
Very cool in fact, yeah. And some earth-friendly mud guards as well. And straight into news. And on last week's show, we were actually looking at an ABS patent from Shimano, and more exciting news from Shimano is a gearbox patent that's out there.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's a bit of a departure from what people have come to expect from gearboxes on bike. Systems such as the pinion system, where it uses a planetary gears. Yeah. This actually uses something that we saw over a decade ago in the Honda downhill bike.
Yeah, that's right.
But the Honda downhill bike was basically using something of a one-by, would that be fair to call it?
Yeah, one by had a cassette and a chain in a box.
Yeah.
Essentially, it had a floating chainring, didn't it, to line up the chain line?
Exactly. This uses a derailleur between kind of two 7-speed cassettes. Then once it's cycled through the full range, the lower cassette shifts over the equivalent spacing of one gear to then give an additional 6 gears. So it's a 13-speed system in total, all sealed, all looked after nicely inside that
fully sealed
gearbox.
What I'm hoping for is that it has slightly less friction. And I think it would be wrong to say that a lot of the systems out there have too much friction. I think they're excellent. I've ridden a pinion, like it's phenomenal, but it's definitely a difference compared to a regular chain and cassette. And I think we're not quite there yet with full manufacturing. So this could be it really from Shimano. Studies
coming out of America have shown how important it is and how that kind of pulley operated drivetrain is probably the most efficient way to go down. I think it's really interesting. Shimano using a special lubricant of their own, and the drawings are really detailed, using kind of high pivot placement in the technical drawings.
I've seen this. That looks exciting straight away, isn't it?
Which kind of shows that maybe it's not that far down the line. But a small caveat: looking at this online, looking at some of the discussions happening, everyone's saying, well, it must be soon, but without wanting to add to that fire, which is largely conjecture. It's things we're kind of seeing and piecing together ourselves. But Shimano aren't saying it's going to be soon. So I'm trying to calm myself down because I'm getting really excited. I would definitely calm myself down because Shimano have got a history of patenting, in fact, specialised in various brands. They all protect everything they're designing. And there was a patent in 1996 for a 14-speed cassette from Shimano, which still hasn't seen daylight. So, so don't get that excited. However, I know what you mean. It does look almost quite a finished piece we sitting and drawing on that bike. Yeah. With that pivot point, it looks excellent. It does look really good. I just hope it's not a false dawn. But one thing that also is really interesting, within the whole patent application, nowhere is the word gearbox used. So maybe they're trying to kind of cover their tracks and pull the wool over the eyes of the industry, but very exciting. Also, one last note, and then I'm going to stop yammering on about this. But if it were to come quite soon, I think it's interesting that with this introduction of 12-speed for SLX, XT and XTR, everything is in a very familiar product range. I wonder if that was to square everything up. You know, it seemed like SLX...
Start fresh.
To go ahead with that new 13-speed.
Yeah, it goes one more, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I just thought it was quite interesting, like the SLX had quite a short product cycle last time, it felt like.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I wonder if they did that to preempt this big overhaul. I hope so, but who knows?
That's quite a good insight. Let us know if you guys have seen anything else on this basis with the Shimano stuff in the comments underneath. It's interesting. Do a bit of sleuthing around. We'll pick this one up again when we know more.
Now, another sort of trail enduro bike, or in this case, possibly both, has come onto the scene with the NS Define range. Yeah, so NS bikes, this is an interesting one. So, if I'm completely honest, I'd never paid them too much attention in the realms of trail bikes because associated them with free riding and stuff like that, and dirt jump bikes and slopestyle, which they've done amazingly well for quite a few years now. But the last couple of years at Eurobike, I've noticed some of their bikes, the kids' bikes and all sorts of trail bikes, the geometry on them has actually been quite aggressive. And although they only tend to offer 2 sizes, they're very well-sized bikes. This Define has got quite a few interesting things about it. Now it's available in 29-inch wheels and 2 different travel options. But here's the cool bit. Either of them can be switched to either way around. So you can have it as one 50mm travel or one 30mm travel, and you can swap between the two by a little shock block and changing a shock, which of course that does mean if you want to run 2 different travel options, you need 2 different shocks. However,
you can completely have it as you want. And the geometry of the bikes is kind of interesting as well. You can also change the reach of the bike. Now this is super cool, I think. This is the most interesting part of it. I'd go short travel and go the longer reach, as I normally would on most things. But have a look at the bike. This is it on screen right now. And a bit of a departure from, I think, where they've been going previously. So I've had a lot of alloy bikes before. Now seeing this with that nicely shaped carbon front triangle on there, I think it's a bit of an art, bit of form of artwork actually.
It does look good. And it used to be, I don't know, we're talking about kind of branding. They used to almost be exclusively neon yellow NS bikes.
Yeah, you know, super Larry, yeah.
Bright. And now this looks kind of like a real, not really solid.
I think it reflects the sort of consumer that's going to buy it, like big time.
And I really like that adjustable. So yes, you have the adjustable headset cups. You have a flip chip to change the bottom bracket height by 5mm, and you can also change the entire shock and that mount.
Yeah.
However, I did a bit of just a little looking around, and so for the 155, so the longer travel guys, it uses a 65mm stroke, but that shock with the same eye-to-eye on a trunnion mount also runs in a 60mm stroke. So you could run the 130mm travel with the short travel linkage set.
Yeah.
You could run that long travel with the long travel linkage set.
Yeah.
Or you could run it
one in the middle.
143mm, I think it works out as, with the longer
already
travel
hacking the bike without even riding the bike.
But it just is a 5mm spacer on the internals of the shock. Any suspension company can do it for you. You can do it at home if you have the kit. And I just thought, that's pretty
really cool.
cool.
So there's two off-the-shelf options, and there's also technically a third option.
Yeah, totally.
So for 3 different travels with 2 different geometries. Awesome. Let's have a look at some of the rest of the numbers on the bike. So I'm obviously going to look at the larger size for myself here. Yeah, so the reach on these, so 490 to 500mm reach on the size large. Like, that's quite impressive. And then on the larger, longer travel version, it's 480 to 490 in the save equivalent.
Yeah.
That's quite a roomy bike for a large.
I think this is the first bike in a long time that I might be going onto a medium. Mm-hmm. And that's not down to reach, because although it's not excessively steep, the seat tube angle, it is, it's thereabouts to bring that kind of seated climbing position back into line. But the seat tube is quite long. I don't know if this is perhaps a pitfall of trying to only do 2 sizes, and covering all the bases.
Yeah, I think you're going to get those issues time to time, but I know, you're a stickler for looking at seat tube lengths. Yeah.
These old dancing hips of mine, they always get me into trouble.
It's funny because I wouldn't have thought it'd be that much an issue, but you were trying to ride that Reactor the other day, and the seat tube was just a little bit too long for you, wasn't it, in the XL?
I can get to about 475, 480.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's maybe I come from a generation of riders that has when I first started riding, I probably only rode for about a year without a dropper post. And since then, I've been someone that has exclusively ridden either downhill bikes, obviously down low, or trail bikes, the dropper posts. So I've never done that, even anything out of my comfort zone.
Okay, right, press pause right there. So anyone that wants to see Henry ride a retro bike, because I think from what he's just told me, he hasn't suffered like
I've
a lot
had
of
a lap
people
of
have.
luxury.
Yeah, so we want to stick him on a bike that's far too tall for him with a rigid seat post, a ridiculously long stem that's far too low for him, and a pair of handlebars that's about the same width as the stem is long. If you want to see that video, we're going to make that. Let us know in those comments. Henry on a retro bike, please. We should probably move on now. What's something else in the news? Now you spotted some new flat pedal shoes, a bit more XC bias. Remind me of the brand again.
It's called Suplest.
Yeah. Okay, no, I do remember seeing these somewhere now.
I'm not actually that familiar with them.
So I've never seen them before. I've seen them floating around. Yeah. They look a little bit like some of the Specialized shoes, in particular ones who've got the boa on. And I mean that in a really good way. It's an excellent shoe. In fact, the shoe that Steve wore recently, I lent him in an EMBN video. What's going on with these shoes? Where have they come from? You say Pauline Ferrand-Prévot has been using them.
She runs that brand, and they do look... It's good for me personally to see a very XC-friendly flat pedal shoe.
It's quite rare to see a tech sort of shoe rather than just a skate shoe style thing.
Yeah, I mean, personally, what I would like from a shoe, and I'm not saying, I think in the same with clip shoes, you get some super cross-country ones, you get some really aggressive ones, and I do like to kind of have some lighter ones, maybe a slightly lower stack height, less heel protection, less toe box.
A bit more for pedalling.
Yeah. And they look really good. Now, details are actually quite thin on the ground, and their kind of website has kind of a cool sort of "it's coming" sort of page. So we don't know the weight, etc. But they certainly do look a bit more cross-country focused.
Yeah, they do. And they also claim to have a very, very soft compound rubber sole, which the elephant in the room is 510 for most flat shoe brands. I think that's fair to say. And everyone has their own take on what they offer as a different rubber compound sole. So we can only speculate that this may or may not be completely useless info for you guys, to be honest. But we need to see them. We need to see them because everyone claims they've got the softest sole, but have they really?
Yeah. So we're talking about shoes that we don't know about, gearboxes that might not exist.
Yeah.
Solid news.
Fictitious news. That's what you're coming for, isn't it? Yeah. And a couple more things in news. First one is actually from Formula. I noticed this surfing on Instagram. I think they're really on it at the moment with their marketing. This is an advert featuring the DeLorean and those little compression adjusters that you can get. And it's just cool. I think they're doing a lot of stuff right. Their YouTube channel is starting to have some really cool content on there. We talked about Chris Porter recently on there. Just give them a follow on Instagram and check out some of their YouTube stuff. They're making some good stuff, and I kind of get the impression they're gearing up for something.
Yeah, I get that impression too.
They're just about to go somewhere big, so there could be something cool coming from Formula in the not too distant future. And one more thing spotted on the social feed actually was a Bristol-based company, RideGuard. They make mudguards. They're made and designed in Bristol, and these ones are earth-friendly. They're actually made from recycled old fishing nets, which is just bravo, guys. I think it's an awesome way to do things. It's on Kickstarter currently, so please have a look at that link because everyone needs a mudguard at this time of year if you're riding in European and wet weather and you're doing a little bit to help remove plastics from the ocean. So it's got to be a good thing.
Good thing. And I also have an announcement to make.
Oh, yeah?
Looking at their website, they do the rear sort of, just the flaps off the seats.
Oh, yeah, the little ones to get your crack dry.
Yeah, I am going to forego pride and the Sartorial elegance, which I'm obviously synonymous for.
So you're going to fit
I think I'm going to get one. I think I'm going to get one. The trails I ride, they're not that puddle heavy.
Yep.
But it's often on the way to or from the trails on the road.
That's when you always get it. Yeah.
And I might just wear tinted goggles and a balaclava because they're not that fashion. They're not that.
That's too late now. You've told everyone you're going to wear them.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to become a full mudguard. I might even get two. Why
don't you get some of these ones because they do a rear one that's also earth-friendly.
Yeah.
I think it's mega. Yeah.
Super cool.
Get involved.
Yeah, fair play to them.
And there's going to be a link actually, so you can go directly to the Kickstarter page for the RideGuard Earth-friendly system. It's underneath in that description, so give it a click. It's really cool, and there's loads of good information about how they make them. Well worth a read.
Now it is time for bike game. We're both just so polite, waiting for the other.
I was waiting for you to do it. I just thought you were going to do it. My bad.
Now it is time for bike game. This is where we check out your storage facilities, where you work on your bikes, where you keep them all safe and locked up. If you're at home and you've got an absolute corker, maybe you're even watching the show. That's just...
You might be watching it from a shed.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, but I couldn't get my words out.
That's all right. Let's roll with it.
Let's roll with it.
Maybe keep your bike under the stairs.
Yeah.
Or in a closet.
Harry Potter style.
Yeah,
that's it.
If you keep it in the closet, let us know.
Yeah, get it in the uploader. Let's get into it, I'd say, without much further ado.
My God, that was long, was it?
That was just... It's like when you see someone falling over for a long time, it's still falling.
It's like in The Simpsons where he has that really long eye. Yeah. Thankfully, Kerry in Perth, Australia, has got a really cool looking setup. So a bit of an outboard motor on the back over there, a little sort of gorilla monkey bike thing going on down there. That looks quite cool. Little Honda, camouflaged by a Merida e-bike. Guess they must be getting more popular.
Big old speaker as well.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? Nice. And what's that? Is that? It's like a press drill or something. I thought it was an outboard motor. It's like a press drill or something. Actually, can't even make out what it is from here.
I think it is a press drill. Yeah. We've got off to an absolute corker.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, this is cool though.
Sometimes you get on the wrong side of bed, don't you?
Yeah.
But
look at those sockets on sockets.
Sockets on
That's
sockets.
What you want to see.
Part work stand folded up in the corner. Nice little drawers. Nice, quite a neat toolboard actually.
Yeah, that is.
By all accounts. Sticking to the 90-degree rule. You know Martin's 90-degree rule?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really important. Otherwise, he will not let you go. Otherwise, plenty of stuff tucked in there. There's that bike again. This kind of reminds me a little bit of a mini version of Sam Hill's sort of garage tour. Saw some images of that. It kind of looks the same sort of thing, same sort of setup. I guess quite utilitarian. It looks good.
Yeah, got the duct tape on hand.
Nice.
Just in case. What's that? Is that like a tiny little quarter pipe?
I just saw that, like a little fingerboard quarter pipe. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so as soon as we messed that one up royally, let's try and get Sam from Hampshire's one out a bit better. First bike getting back into mountain bikes since my Diamondback Sorrento for 95. Wow, you've been doing it a long time, dude. What a difference some squish makes. What a difference it makes having somewhere nice to work on your bikes as well. Good looking tool board. I noticed you've got half the park tools in the range along the back there. Loads of different lubes and stuff underneath. Nice little setup you got there. Oh, look at this. So this is under the stairs or something, it looks like.
I like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a
It's
wicked
probably
use
actually
of
a
space.
really good place to store the bike.
Really safe place to store them. No one's going to look at
Super
that.
good. Yeah. But I'm always thinking about that, like where to keep the bikes, because sometimes it's so hard to get somewhere that it's not fouling on things.
I know what you
Actually,
mean.
you can put your saddle down, you get it really far
Just
back.
straight in, yeah.
And what else can you really put in that space? It's probably actually pretty good.
Your Dyson maybe, and that's about it. Yeah, better use for a bike, that's for sure.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, awesome, and great to see that you're still riding. Awesome to see that you're on a Boardman as well. Really decent bike, so nice one. Oh, flipping heck. Look at the size of this workshop.
Oh, look at this. Look at the size of that wheelbase.
Yeah,
Gee long.
it is.
Holy Toledo.
Loads of bikes and stuff going on here. So this is Andrew in Western Australia. Hey, there seems to be a lot of people in Australia tuning in. That's really cool.
Sam Gaze, your mate's from there, isn't he?
Yeah, somewhere like that, yeah. My God, I'm never going to let that one go.
Under the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just move on from that, shall we? I'm pretty sure he wants to kill me. So. I did apologise to him, and he was like, that's what under bridge. It's all good. It was an innocent mistake that I blame, wholeheartedly, I blame Neil Donoghue for. Because when I first started, I did a bike check on Sam Gaze's bike, and he goes, oh yeah, he's that guy, and he gave me the information, and I just read it. More for me, but I took that one. But anyway, yeah, Blake's out in Australia at the moment, funnily enough, out riding with another Sam.
Because I was doing a bike check, and I also had Neil script it for me.
Yeah.
And he
Was that wrong as well?
did he not win Rear of the Year?
Neil?
Yeah, 2007. Winner of Southwest Rear of the Year. Well, I'm shocked. I am shocked. What a scandalous man. This looks pretty cool though. Certainly, it's nice to see, you see people work really efficiently with, kind of smaller spaces.
Yeah.
But it is cool also to see somebody go wild with a bigger one.
This is just well used, isn't it? Looks good. Obviously, the bike is pride of the place. Look at the orange in the middle there. Says I've got a custom bike stand on my orange 324. I designed and made it work. It looks clean, neat and simple. Ideal for working on my bike, plus great for having at races. Yeah, I guess just to put some lube on your chain and stop it leaning up against stuff. My boyhood dream when I was 15 was to own an orange downhill bike. Now I'm 35 years old. I finally got one from the UK, second hand. Man, what was the shipping to get that out? It must have cost a fortune.
Pretty rare out there.
Yeah, it was a solid bike though. It's going to last, that's for sure. I need to change the bearings on those every now and then. Probably never actually where you are. Yeah, you probably
totally.
don't even see any rain.
I think if I was to have a downhill bike, I would really like something like an orange. Almost, you get some that are kind of high, sort of, like the Ariel Atom, like that track day car. That's like, traction control, everything, this, that, and the other. And that's sort of your ultra...
No BS, it's just there.
That's like the carbon fibre ones. But like the oranges, they're more like that kind of Caterham, sort of really passionate, just loads of fun to drive, loads of fun to ride.
And generally the same people that buy them as well.
Yeah.
Someone who buys an orange, they become like a serial orange buyer.
Yeah, totally.
They won't look at anything else.
Great looking bike though.
Yeah, an awesome setup. Obviously clean to your motorsport as well, the Ducati poster at the back there. Nice work. Okay, and the last one is from Christian in Jutland. My father and I were short on space in the basement, and here's our solution, and it works. Well, certainly works out pretty well. They're quite cool, like homemade. In fact, we've got the real versions of those in our workshop that sort of fold up on the wall, but I love the fact you've actually made these. Really good use of space. Staggering them always works if you've got enough ceiling space. Nice work.
Yeah,
Job done.
Cool.
Awesome. Good selection, guys, and we'll be hopefully back on it in better form next week.
Yeah, more coherent.
Okay, now it's time for Rewind. This is our retro old school section of the show. If you've got any shots of yourself at old races, or more importantly, any old kit, let us know. There's a link underneath there, and you can also email us as well, hellotech@gmbn.com. First up this week is from email, actually. This is from Steve Dickens, Melbourne, Australia. There's like so much Australia action going on. Hey Doddy and Henry, I'm a big fan of your channel and love the Rewind segment, so thanks for bringing the MTB Tech Stoke on a weekly basis. Apologies for not using the uploader, my old school computer doesn't seem to work with it. No problem.
Retro's a lifestyle for him.
100%.
I like it.
Well, and check the bike out. It's a GT Pantera for 1996. So I've got fond memories of these things. So the whole triple triangle thing, everyone had them back then. You know, of course, there was a Cracker-Ram, there's a Timberline, the Pantera, the Zaska, of course, the famous one, the Shazang. Loads of them. Classic looking bike. But I love the fact that you say, I'm now 36, I've gotten back into mountain biking after a long break from mountain biking. I felt the itch again, dusted off the Pantera. So he's had this since 1996. And there's actually a shot of him racing the bike here. That's like super cool to see. Old retro shot. So I just think that's amazing.
Yeah.
To see a bike that old, see some shots of it from back then. Wicked stuff to see. Next up is from Jason, aka Deflated. Loving the channel, and I wanted to submit my 1997-ish Dean Sputnik. So I've never seen one of these. I've seen the Dean titanium bikes. I've never seen one of their Sputniks, so the carbon ones. Now this is it here. So you've got Rhino cranks on here, SRAM composite ESP derailleur and shifters. So these were like the super early grip shift options are available on the market. Look at the brake levers on. I mean, it's funny, instead of composite, they almost look, without offending anyone, they look a bit plasticky, don't they, compared to what we associate carbon and composite being these days. But I totally remember the ESP shifters, because these came out after the X-rays, and everyone wanted them because they were clear. They look really good, but after a while, they'd go a bit murky.
Especially if you've got water in there.
Got brown pond water and stuff in there, so you had to really keep them clean. Otherwise, everyone would know that you were a bit of a Steve Jones when it came to bike mechanics.
So was ESP a precursor to grip shift then?
Well, basically, it was SRAM-made grip shift to start with, but the original ones, you needed like triple jointed wrists because you might have to throw on them to like change gear. You know, to change gear, you'd have to like be like that and wrench them around. And then they basically started realising the best way to do it was to make them up and actually make their own derailleurs as well. And they worked on a one-to-one cable pull system.
Is that where that came from? Because they still use that actuation?
They still use that now. Yeah, exact actuation, I think they call it, don't they now? And that's basically what the ESP system was about then. And they went through a whole series of making derailleurs that had different looks to them. They made one that looked like wood. They had like a veneer on it, and they had carbon and all these different interesting looking ones. But kind of cool to see. So that was one of those early ones there. Although that one's actually called a 9.0 SL. I remember these literally just saying ESP on the side of them. Not looking too different to that, but they worked really well. Obviously way before the clutch system and the more compact looking derailleurs that we see of today. But pretty cool. The Rhino cranks, I don't remember those. I remember seeing the race face rings everywhere, but I don't remember the cranks. So that's something I don't remember at all. But there's that frame, the classic Dean graphics. So you might have seen those around. Always associate that, seeing that on the raw titanium frames. So this is definitely quite a rare beast, I think. Original Fox Vanilla 125 forks on there. They're pretty cool.
I wonder if the vanilla will come back. People are starting to look at coil forks more.
Yeah.
You know, I just throw it out there. I had a Van 32, 140mm, I think. Actually, it's a great fork. Yeah, super good. And that by today's standards, people be, it's too flexy, but then it's what you rode and it was great.
No, they were really good back then. That's the thing. And just the last picture here as well. I just want to check this, but it looks like Avid calipers from back in the day. Yeah, Avid Arch Ultimates. Look at them, amazing looking. So that was, I think, before Avid became part of the SRAM brand and the big umbrella brand. They used to make really cool speed digits, I think they were called, and I've totally forgotten. I've got brain block today. My head's not working properly. Maybe it's just because it's a Wednesday. But still, it looks really cool and really nice to see that. And really cool actually to see the real early SRAM grip shift stuff. Nice work. Thanks for sending those in, guys. Awesome selection.
And now it is time for top mods, which hopefully we're going to get into a bit more seamlessly than the last section.
Well, we can try.
We can do our best. But you brought up a couple of cool things this week there, Doddy.
Yeah, so the first one, initially I just saw a shot of a valve stem, and obviously it's got a big one, so it looks like a Schrader valve stem. So this is from Landon in Madison, USA. He says, am I in the minority with feeling that Presta valves are a needlessly fiddly relic of mountain biking's road bike past?
Fiery language.
I drilled out my rims, basically drilled out my rims and installed some Schrader valve stems. Seems funny to me that mountain bikers care so much about getting tyre pressure perfectly dialed and then use valve stems that lose air if you don't screw them down with perfect agility and grace. I'm not too sure about that, to be honest, but you have got a point that Schrader valve stems are really good. If you go back in time to the beginning, there was high pressure valves, HP valves, which we later called Presta, known as French valves as well, the other name for them. And there was the Woods valve, which is also known as the Dunlop valve. They were the popular ones that you used to see around Europe, really. And Schrader valves, to us, didn't really exist at the time. That was a US product, often called the American valve,
Right, okay.
which we later then called the car valve, and then the real name is the Schrader valve.
Okay, yeah.
The designer, kind of a long way around about talking about it.
A long
But
walk for a
essentially,
short drink.
by the time bikes were really rolling and people were making them, Schrader valves came along a little later, so we're later adopters of them. And the reason that we didn't see much on mountain bikes in the early days really was same as road. Rims were getting narrower and narrower, so it made more sense to have a smaller valve stem. And, you know, I don't mind a Presta valve. Yeah, agreed, they can be a bit of a pain in the arse. The valve cores can clog up and stuff like that, but they're easily replaceable, and it does mean you can squirt in stuff straight through the valve, the hollow valve core as well.
It's funny, we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not really, to be honest, sounds probably quite apathetic, but I don't really care too much. I'm not invested in either camp.
Sure.
If the next thing was Schrader, sweet, but I don't look at my Presta valves thinking, oh, damn you, why can't you be...
I don't either,
Yeah.
although it would make sense to have Schrader everywhere, given that your shock and your fork have Schrader valves.
Yes, exactly, and I just wonder if we did move to, you know, with these wider rims, with a wider rim, well, I can't do my R's at the best of times, that was a challenge. But if that was more dominant, you know, the scene was more dominated by those, are we just going to see a different set of problems? You know, often problems only reveal themselves, you know, tubeless sealant in Presta valves has kind of revealed itself as an issue. But maybe the same thing would happen with Schrader valves, because no one does it.
You still have to take the valve core out.
Because no one does it, we don't know about it.
Well, we could actually do our own little experiment and drill out some rims. Maybe we should drill out some of Steve's rims or
some alloy
blades,
ones anyway.
someone that no one notices. Because Stans still make Schrader
indeed,
tubeless valve cores. So yeah, maybe we'll just give it a try. Nothing wrong with them, but you're right. No one really uses them.
Yeah.
But kind of cool to see that you've done that. Good little top mod, that. Okay, next up is from Andy. He actually says he's got Banshee Rune, which is funny because this is actually a Sonda hardtail. But he says built up a hardtail for pedalling, as in the daily bike, and only uses his FS bike at bike parks and for uplift. So he's taken a 1x11 off it, put it on the hardtail, and then got a downhill drivetrain on his full suspension bike. Cool. Put the dropper post on the hardtail, increased the fork on his other bike as a mini downhill bike.
Right, okay, yeah.
That's kind of going the other way, actually. So a lot of people are riding bikes more like his Banshee and having that as your everything bike, and actually going the other way for the hardtail makes kind of more sense, to be fair.
Yeah, totally. Hardtails are fun. And as a daily bike, no maintenance.
Less to replace.
Less maintenance.
Yeah, and then by all accounts, it looks really cool as well. Looks like it's got decent geometry on it and it looks good fun. Nice work, that. And then there's that Banshee with the seat slammed, clearly on downhill duties there. Yeah. Tiny little cassette.
I wonder if he's put quite a much bigger fork on there. My only thinking is, you know, the stay there, the chain stay, looks quite close to the chain itself. I don't know if that's by design, and it does look almost like raked out with seat tube handle and stuff. But you know, if he's just hucking his meat, then why not?
Good fun.
Yeah.
Good top mods all round. More great stuff for you guys. Keep them coming in.
And there we have it. That's all wrapped up for another weekly GMBN Tech Show. If you want to stay with the channel, if you're liking the content, then click down here to see my tool hacks and some of the things I bodged together. And like we said, if you've got some at home, please do send them into the uploader. Yeah, and right down here to repair stanchion scratches. You can also use the same trick on your seat posts, which do tend to get scratched on uplifts. As always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up here at GMBN Tech and hit that subscribe button. Yep, and that notification bell too. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. TTFN.